Air Pollution by Sean and Guido. In our everyday lives, we pollute the air in more ways than we can imagine. Unless you live in a third world country, you probably use a car at least once or twice a day, and for several miles. The average person emits 4 tons of carbon dioxide a year, which wouldn't be too bad, except there's 7.5 billion of us, plus industrial businesses, factories, and oil companies that are polluting air as we speak. Well, what are the results of this? We Americans don't truly know, for now. But in 25 years or so, our cities from San Francisco to New York City will be just as smoggy and polluted as Beijing and New Delhi. In your lifetime, you will probably be required to wear clothing or a mask that covers your mouth and your nose to prevent lung cancer and other life-threatening diseases caused by air pollution. You will see the sun less and less frequently, and if you live in a city, you might never see the sun at all. So in case you didn't know already, air pollution is the presence of carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, and other harmful chemicals being introduced into our atmosphere, and ultimately heating up the climate we know today. These chemicals cause countless health problems like pneumonia, bronchitis, emphysema, asthma, and lung damage. Diseases like these, induced because of air pollution, at the moment cause approximately 3.7 to 4.3 million deaths a year. Not only is the air outside polluted, but the air inside homes might actually be worse. 50% of premature deaths caused by air pollution are induced because of trapped smoke and chemicals inside of houses. There are 4 different sources that cause air pollution. Mobile sources like automobiles, planes, trains, and buses. Stationary sources like power plants, heavy industries, boilers, oil refineries, and many other manufacturing industries. Area sources, which are basically made up of agricultural plantations and urban centers. Natural sources like dust storms, volcanic eruptions, and wildfire also pollute the air, but happen less frequently and have less of an effect on the atmosphere. Mobile sources release mostly carbon dioxide coming from fossil fuels, while stationary sources and area sources also release CO2, along with other very harmful chemicals into the air like sulfur dioxide. Natural sources release mostly smoke and ash into the air, which can heavily pollute the air when a volcano erupts or a forest fire is sparked, but again happens sporadically, so it has a relatively small impact on the environment.
Well, if air pollution is so bad, why haven't we gotten rid of it yet? I mean, wouldn't it be logical to get rid of the thing that will eventually mean the demise of Earth as we know it today? Well, it would be easy to do if there weren't so many things standing in the way of even a small step towards solving this problem. Some of these things that cause air pollution to persist is the fact that many countries, like India and Pakistan, have little or no regulation on air pollution. Also, even though more and more electric cars are being manufactured, only 1.41% of the world's population is using electric cars. And in a way, electric cars still pollute the air because they use electricity from power plants that use oil to make that electricity. Another huge reason why air pollution is continuing is because greedy politicians have been bribed by oil companies to not resist the amount of oil being produced. It's because of this that 391.73 million gallons of motor fuel is being used every day in the United States, and 3.948 billion gallons of motor fuel is being used every day in the world.
Do we really want to live with air pollution the rest of our lives? Even healthy people could suffer from respiratory disease or breathing difficulties. Shouldn't we know how this is happening and affecting us so dramatically? So many people don't even know about air pollution in the world, and it still affects our health, breath, and well-being, and all of us are affected. We need to be very careful in the future about symptoms, even if air pollution is invisible, if we don't want humanity to go extinct. If we want to make a change in air pollution, we need to act now. Famous scientist Stephen Hawking says, in theory, if we don't prevent air pollution, we might only have 100 years left to live. If his theory is pretty close, then we seriously need to act now, because 100 years from now, your children and grandchildren will be alive to experience it. That being said, with this effect, if there are people still alive, they will live a real miserable life. If we want to solve this problem, we're going to need to make some changes. But if we do things like conserve energy or avoid idling automobiles excessively, we might just be alright. Some other changes could be to carpool more to get fossil fuel cars off the road. We should also start using electric cars so we don't burn so much fuel. But if we want to make some real changes that we can make right now as a school, we should have fundraisers for local energy conservation groups, because ultimately they are the ones who can make a huge difference in the world. However, we won't be able to do this without our help. We can provide them with the support they need to impact the world for the greater good.
The end. Thanks for watching.